Hello and welcome to Story Meadow, stories for car journeys, bedtime and any other quiet time. My name's Marion and I'll take you on an adventure and we're going to meet some amazing new friends. We might learn a new thing or two and we're going to share some brilliant ideas that you might want to play afterwards or talk about with friends or family. I really hope you enjoy the story. I started making up stories for my own children, Anna, Ben and Noah, and they love them so much, they asked me to share them with the world. So wherever you are, I hope you enjoy this, and I'd love to hear from you too. So if you do want to share where you are in the world or share about a special occasion like a birthday, I will do my best to give you a shout out on the podcast in the next episode possible. All you need to do is ask a parent or a grown-up to email in at info@storymeadow.co.uk and I'll do my best to read them and share them on the podcast. Okay, enough chatting. Let's get all cozy so we can relax into the story. Let's take a first big breath in through your nose and slowly back out through your mouth. And this time, put your hands out in front of you as if you were holding a lovely hot chocolate in your hands. You're going to breathe in the smell through your nose. Smell that lovely chocolate. And then blow out softly through your mouth to cool it back down. Lovely. Well done. I think it's time to start our story. Are you ready? Billy Bunny falls in the river. One day, Billy Bunny was playing with his best friend Squirrel Lily and they were playing by the river. They were throwing rocks into it and trying to see who could throw their rock the furthest. "Oh, did you see that one?" said Squirrel Lily. "It went so far. It went all the way through the trees, through the leaves, up, and it went all the way over there. I think it's the furthest I've ever thrown it, Billy. Can you see how far it went? Can you see it? Can you see it?" "I can see it," said Billy. "I can see it. And actually, I can throw it even further. Watch me." And he threw his rock through the air, but it landed right in front of him. Plop. "Oh, let me try again. This time, Billy Bunny took a little run up, a run and a hop, and whoo, the rock went flying through the air and plop, it went a little bit further. "Oh, that was rubbish. Let me try again. And Billy went further away. He came running up, faster, and he threw his rock in the air, and as he threw, he tripped over a tree root and went tumbling down the riverbank and into the river. Splash! "Oh no! Help! Billy was splashing his arms and flailing his legs and screaming, and his ears were poking out of the water, and he was swallowing water and coughing and shouting for help. Well, Squirrel Lily felt very, very worried, but she knew that the river was actually not very deep at all. In this area, she could actually see the bottom of the river. And if Billy just put his feet on the ground, he would be able to stand up. "Just stand up," said Squirrel Lily. Put your feet down. But Billy was not listening to anybody because he was so worried that he wasn't able to swim and he couldn't get himself out, that he was flapping and splashing and shouting, "Help! I'm drowning, help!" And Squirrel Lady said, "You're not, just put your feet down." But he wouldn't listen and he couldn't hear from so far away and with all that splashing around. But luckily, out of the reeds came another little friend. This was a little water vole, and Billy had not met this friend before, but she is called Phoebe Vole, and Phoebe is an excellent swimmer, and she looks like she's a water vole, and water voles have a long tail, and they're a bit like a mouse, but they're bigger, and most of them are a brown colour. So they're quite brown and they're very, very cute. They have really lovely chubby cheeks and they're quite round and fluffy, and they like to wash their whiskers by the river and nibble on blackberries, and then they plop into the water and have little swims around, and they're very good swimmers. Well, luckily, Phoebe Vole had spotted Billy Bunny making all this commotion and all this noise, so she came swimming along up to him and she paddled her little paws closer and closer until she was so close to his ears, and she shouted, because she's got a very little voice, so she shouted as loud as she could so it would be heard over all the splashing and all the shouting that Billy was making. "Help me! Help me! I'll never get out of here! Help!" she shouted. "Billy, put your feet down. Stand up." Oh. Well, that stopped Billy's splashing straight away. He put his big feet on the bottom of the riverbed, and he felt that it was actually very, very shallow. And then he stood up. Oh, the water only comes up to my belly button. Ah, phew, I thought I was drowning. Thank you for helping me. And Phoebe said, "Well, that's not a problem, Billy, but you know, the water does get deeper in different parts of the river. You have to be very careful around a river, especially if you don't know how to swim yet." And Billy said, "Yes, I'm a bit nervous about water. It went all shooting up in my nose, and then when I shouted 'help, help,' it all rushed up in my mouth, and I swallowed some of it, and I think I swallowed some pondweed or something." And little Phoebe Vole giggled. She said, "Well, I don't know what you swallowed, Billy, but I think you'll be okay. Now up you pop. Would you like me to teach you how to swim?" Oh, Billy Bunny's eyes went big and round. Yes, I really want to learn to swim. Then I won't be worried anymore if I fall in. That would be great. "I'll teach you how to swim," she said. "Okay. What you need to do is put your little paws in the water like this," and she showed him what she was doing. "And then you paddle around like this. You move them back, forwards through the water, and you scoop it behind you, a bit like some ice cream scoops, scooping the water behind you. Don't forget about your feet too." And because Billy was trying this already, she said, "And you want to try and lay down as flat as me. Look at me." Now, little Phoebe Vole had her little nose, the tip of her nose was in the water. The top of her head was poking out, but all along her back was nice and flat in the water, and just her paws were underneath her. She said, "Lie down nice and flat like that, Billy, and that will help you to float. Keep your chin in the water." So Billy did the same, and you know, he was very good at swimming. He learnt very quickly, and he copied, and he did everything that Phoebe Vole told him to do, and before long he was paddling around from this side to that side, and Squirrel Lily was clapping on the riverbank, cheering him on, saying, "Billy, that was great! You're doing it! You're actually doing it! You can swim, Billy! That's so good! Well done!" And Billy felt really, really proud of himself, because he had been nervous about swimming for a really, really long time, and now he could actually do it. So he hopped out of the river. It was already lunchtime, and his tummy was starting to make lots of noises, and he was starving. So he said bye-bye to Phoebe Vole, and he ran off to go get his lunch. "I'll be back soon, bye." And he ran off. And when he got home, he told Mummy Bunny all about the swimming adventure, and how he had fallen in, and how he had been rescued by Phoebe Vole, and how she had taught him how to swim, and now he was really, really good. And Mummy Bunny said, "Wow, well, I hope you gave her a really big thank you, because that is such an important thing to learn." And Billy's face was shocked, and his eyes went all big, and his little nose twitched, and he said, "I forgot to say thank you. I actually forgot. I was so hungry, and my tummy was making so much grumbling noises because it was so empty, that I just said bye, and I forgot to say thank you." "Oh dear," said Mummy Bunny. "Why don't you pack up a little present to say thank you, and pop down to the river this afternoon to give it to Phoebe Vole, and you can let her know how grateful you are for her teaching you how to swim. So Billy Bunny liked that idea. He ran to his bedroom and found a lovely little box that had some nice polka dots on the top, like little coloured spots, and was really beautiful. And he decided he would put some blackberries inside. So as he walked back to the river, he picked a few blackberries and put them all neatly into the box. And then he carried on walking. And then he picked a few more. And then a few more. And then they didn't fit in the box anymore. So he put a few on top of the box. And then a few more. And then he had so many blackberries. He had his arms full. And he could barely see over the top of them. And he walked closer and closer to the river until he knew he was quite close. But suddenly, he tripped over again. And this time, all the blackberries went flying into the air, and he was close to the river. They all landed into the river. Plop, 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 plop. And Billy Bunny went flying through the air, and he landed in the river too. Boosh! Oh dear. He tried to put his feet onto the bottom again. He remembered that sometimes the river was not that deep, so he tried to put his feet down. But it was no use. This part of the river was actually quite deep, and he couldn't touch the bottom. And that really made Billy panic. He started to flap, and he started to try and poke his head up out of the water. Help, help, help. And then he would go under, and he had a mouthful of water, and it was all rushing up his nose, and he was really, really scared. But then, luckily, Phoebe Vole had seen him coming, and she was running all along the bank of the river, and she took a big dive into the water. She went flying through the air, whee, pop, and landed close to Billy. And when she was close to his ears, and the ears were still sticking up out of the water, she shouted, and she used her loudest voice because she knew she was small, and she said, "Billy, remember, you can swim. You can do it. Come on, I believe in you. Put your paws underneath you." And she told him exactly what he needed to do. Start paddling. That's it. Now you're floating a bit better. That's it. Now take a deep breath. You can breathe again. Keep your chin in the water. And he started to paddle. And he started to move forwards. And he was getting closer to the bank already. And he was feeling much, much calmer with Phoebe Vole right by his side, being such a good friend. And Billy climbed out of the river, of the deep part of the river, and he said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, Phoebe Vole. I came back because I forgot to say thank you." Oh, Phoebe Vole put her little paw around Billy, and she said, "You didn't have to do that. You didn't have to fall in to thank me." And they both giggled together because it really was quite silly that he had come back and fallen in the river again. And then she said, "Oh, lucky us. Look how many blackberries there are." And Billy Bunny said, "Well, actually, I brought those blackberries with me to give them to you. I brought them here. I wanted to give them to you as a present." And Phoebe Vole smiled. She said, "Right, give me just a minute then, Billy." And she plopped into the water as quick as a flash, and she brought all the blackberries back out. She was such a good swimmer, and she scurried from one side to another and brought all of the blackberries back to Billy. They were a little bit soggy, but they were very juicy, and they had a lovely little feast right on the riverbed. And on the riverbank, and Billy Bunny was so proud that he had actually learnt to swim, and he could actually do it for real now. And he knew that it was so important that he needed to practice, because otherwise he might fall in another day with his big clumsy feet and trip over another root, and if he fell in the water, that could be really dangerous. So he said, "Phoebe Vole, please can I come back again tomorrow and you teach me again?" And she nodded her little head. She said, "Billy, I will teach you every day if you like, and we can have lots of fun together." The end. So I wonder if you've ever had a lovely walk by a river, or maybe you've played throwing stones as far as you can in the river with somebody else, or maybe you've played poo sticks on the bridge. That's a really fun game too. And have you been very careful around the edge of the water, because we can easily trip over and slip inside, because sometimes that's just what happens. It's not on purpose. But we do have to be quite careful and look around us when we are going close to a river. And maybe next time you're near a river, you might spot a little Phoebe vole as well. They're very, very cute. They look like big mice with brown fur, and they're all lovely and round, and they've got lovely round cheeks and little brown eyes that are even darker brown, and they love to sit on a little side of the bank and nibble on some fruit or some grasses, and they make their nests in the banks as well, a bit like a burrow. So you might spot some little burrows, and you might hear them, because they are quite big, a bit bigger than a mouse, maybe a bit more like the size of a mole. When they hop into the water, they do make a little splashing sound. So if you're very still and very quiet, you might hear the water voles. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Story Man.